So I get a lot of questions of, how do you know how much to dial for that yardage? How do you know where to aim in this wind? So elevation and wind obviously are the two most important things when you're trying to figure out how to get first round impacts, or a quick second round impact if you did get close on your first miss. Burris Ballistic Optics has a app on the burrisoptics.com that you can go to that has fantastic ballistics. Dozens of free apps online. There's some that you can pay $10 for, and there's some that you can pay $30 for on your phone. I like phone options except for a couple things. Sometimes you don't have phone service, so you're unable to update current weather conditions. More importantly than that, though, is if it's cold out, my battery dies in about 3 minutes. So throw that out the window, but it's nice to have as a backup. Another option you could do is hard paper data. You can go to these ballistic app programs and you can either screenshot, take a picture with your phone of the screen, or print it on a normal computer if you're born in 1980. But modern technology on your phones, and then Kestrel. Kestrel has fantastic ballistic apps. I'm not associated with any of these programs, I just like to use what works. But the most important thing is, at the end of the day, Kestrel with their automatic updating weather, phones that connect to the nearest antenna tower to get current weather conditions or data that you had wrote down from 2 months ago. The important thing to do is to get out there and test your data. I have had, even on the drive up here this morning, I was on the phone with one of my friends and he's like, craziest thing, my lab radar and my magneto speed, they both gave me this exact same velocity. It was 2,900. And I was like, okay. And I go out to 1,100 and I'm hitting the top of the target. And I know my BC's right, and I know the velocity's right, but I had to adjust the velocity down to 2850 to get center line hits. I'm like, okay, so what's the problem? He's like, well, it didn't match my computer. I'm like, computer doesn't matter. What we want to do is make everything match your gun. Who knows if there's some sort of bullet deformation going on as it goes through the barrel? Who knows if there's some sort of, I don't believe this too much. Obviously, it's out there in extreme examples. Crosswind jump vortex thing pushing the bullet up or pulling it down, or left to right wind, you get just a natural spin of the bullet, it's going to go this way, or right to left, it's naturally going to go high left. What you got to think about is try to zero your data in the most unobtrusive weather conditions you can. Make your program match your rifle. I don't care if you have the exact velocity and the exact BC, and if it doesn't match what's happening down the field, don't use it. So 2 things I like to do. I like to get a target at 400 yards and put a nice line on it. At the 400 yard line, it's going to give me a perfect velocity. Velocity, I'm going to adjust until it's perfect at 400 yards. 400 yards, you're not usually going to get enough conditions that are going to mess up your bullet velocity, trajectory, anything like that. It's close enough to keep it solid. Then I'm going to go to 1,200 yards. I'm going to put it at 1,200 yards and I'm only going to adjust my BC. My ballistic coefficient is how well that bullet, or how that bullet moves through the air. The higher the BC, the least the air affects it less. The lower the BC, the more the wind affects the bullet. So obviously when you're hunting for bullets, you want a higher BC. So I go to 1,200 yards, I'm going to try to hit that center line, I'm only going to adjust my BC to get that trued up. Those 2 things will get you rock solid, and you should have really good data. After that, you put it in your program, your BC and your velocity, and get it to match up. If it doesn't match up, a lot of these programs like Ballistics and other online programs, they allow you to go in and hard put in your data of this point and this point, and it gives the curve for you. Again, at the end of the day, the most important thing is a good data book, writing down actual data, recording your velocity and your BC, so when you get to the match, you're able to have reliable data, because if you don't have reliable data, you might as well not go. Thanks for watching the video. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments below. Click on the other links or subscribe and see more of our stuff.